What is good? This is the Nuchannel Sports Takedown. Back at it again. You know what this is. This is a solo with your host, Chris. I'm back with y'all again for another Takedown, and this one is good. Well, really, they're all good, so go check them out if you haven't checked them out before. But you know how I like to do it. I like to get straight into the takedown, and this one is really simple. The 2018 NFL draft class, specifically quarterbacks, need to step up after their week one performances. Got to step up. So I'll take you back a little bit to the 2018 NFL draft class and where I'm coming from with this takedown. There were 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. And before I get to the 3 you definitely know, I got to take my L. I got to take my L because coming into that draft, I was highest on Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen was selected number 10 overall, and I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft. He had a big mouth. He could talk a good game, but watching him in UCLA, I believed he would get it done in the NFL. I was clearly wrong about that, but I will say this in my own defense, because, you know, I got to defend myself. He went to the Arizona Cardinals, and they really didn't give him a chance. He got the rawest deal I've seen for a quarterback in a long time. Straight up, as a top 10 quarterback, to get the deal that he got a raw deal. It really wasn't fair. In the first season, he's with a coach and a GM. They go out and essentially they just throw him away and they go for Kyler Murray. Well, let's be real. That was let's be real. As ugly as that was, it ended up working out because Kyler Murray looks phenomenal. He looks really good after week one with his performance and an upset win over the Tennessee Titans. But I digress. This is not about Kyler Murray. This is first about my L with Josh Rosen because he did not start on Sunday. He was not playing on Sunday. And I thought out of the quarterbacks that were drafted in the 2018 draft class in the first round that he was the best quarterback. And I have to take my L. I was wrong. But it's okay. It's okay because I believe I got an excuse for that because he was given a raw deal. The other quarterback that you know, but that's not really part of this conversation yet, is Sam Darnold. He was taken number 3 overall to the New York Jets, and similar to Josh Rosen, he is no longer a New York Jet. He is instead a Carolina Panther. And the NFL, they know what they're doing. The NFL loves drama. The NFL is, for a man, it's our soap opera. Now, I'm not saying there are not men who don't watch soap operas. I did. I watched one of those soap operas for a little bit. I think maybe All My Children or something like that. It was cool for a season. Then I was like, okay, this is repeating a whole bunch. I didn't see the storyline. I think I'm good. But it'll suck you in. If you watch a soap opera, it will suck you in and it take your life. It'll take your day away from you. But again, I digress. The NFL knows what it's doing. Sam Darnold no longer with the Jets. And he has Robbie Anderson with him with the Carolina Panthers. And they play each other week one. Panthers, Jets. And Darnold plays well. He plays well, and he's another quarterback coming into the draft. I thought he was solid. I was really big on the West Coast quarterbacks in 2018. Josh Allen, UCLA. Not Josh Allen. Josh Rosen, UCLA. Sam Darnold, USC. Watched them a lot. I don't watch a lot of Pac-12 football, but for whatever reason, for that time period, I was. And I was big on those quarterbacks. And Sam Darnold still has a chance, particularly with Matt Rule in Carolina, so we will see with him. But this takedown, and I'm almost 5 minutes in, this takedown is really about the other 3 quarterbacks. Coming into the season, we asked a question on our podcast. Check out our latest episode of our podcast, and we talked about who is most likely to take that elite turn. Who is most likely to get to that next stage in their career? Because they're all three good quarterbacks, and I'll give you their names in a second. You should know them. And we're talking about who's going to take that elite turn. And the quarterbacks are Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. Those are the three guys coming into the season that we thought they have a chance. I didn't think all three of them would, but collectively, I thought one of them would have an elite turn. And my takedown after 1 week of watching them is, guys, you got to step up. The 2018 draft class, first round quarterbacks, they've got to step up. I'll start with Josh Allen, because coming into the season, for whatever reason, he's been pointed out as the poster boy, the guy to get it done. The Bills' defense is phenomenal. Everyone is saying, particularly somebody on our podcast, Enyi, is saying that he has a chance to be the MVP of the NFL and a chance to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs as the best team in the AFC to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Trendy pick. The Bills are a trendy pick this offseason. And what did they do? At home, by the way. At home versus a tough, well-coached Steelers football team. They didn't look good. They did not look good in week 1. Particularly, Josh Allen did not look good in week 1. And the question for me is why? Because one thing I have given the Buffalo Bills credit for is they have spent and splurged on getting him weapons on the offensive side of the football. Last season, they sent away first-round pick and other picks to bring in Diggs, who was phenomenal. Diggs wanted to stop being under the shadow of Adam Thielen, and boy, did he show up last season. He was phenomenal. They go get Cole Beasley, a good slot receiver. They go get Emmanuel Sanders. They get guys that Josh Allen can throw to with his big cannon of an arm. This was all supposed to come together this season. And yet in week 1, it did not. So this is kind of we don't want to overreact because it is just 1 week, but I'm giving you my take after the first week of football. What did I see? And this is the main take that I have coming away. I'm looking at these three quarterbacks, and I'm talking about Josh Allen first, and I'm disappointed. I wanted to see more, particularly against the Steelers, for a couple of reasons. One, coming into the season, I think it's fair to say that most people consider the Steelers to be fringe contenders. Good defense, well coached. Najee Harris coming in as a rookie. You know, those Alabama running backs in the NFL, they're everywhere now. Well coached team, veteran quarterback in Ben Roethlisberger, decent receivers, Chase Claypool, Juju Smith-Schuster. You expect them to be a fringe contender. Don't know if you quite expected them to go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo the way they did. Yes, the game was close, but Ben Roethlisberger wasn't even a factor. Ben Roethlisberger looked like a guy, he looked like Phillip Rivers did last season, where the Colts were so good they could win games in spite of Phillip Rivers. And that's what they did. The Steelers won that game in spite of Ben Roethlisberger. Not that Ben Roethlisberger was bad, he just wasn't good. And you would expect, with the expectations being so great, Great Expectations, huh? You ever read that book? Great Expectations. If you haven't read that book, that's a great book. Let me just segue in this. If you don't read, you need to read. That is a great book. And that's what I saw in week 1. Great expectations for Josh Allen. Perhaps the moment was too big, but he just wasn't good enough. And what makes it worse is that Ben Roethlisberger wasn't great either. So he had every opportunity to win the game for his team, and he did not. That is a theme for all three quarterbacks I'm going to discuss. They all had opportunities to win the game for the team. Why do you play? We play to win the game. And he was unable to do it. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield. The Browns did everything right to win that football game, but costly mistakes cost them the football game versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Unlike Josh Allen and the Bills, the Browns went on the road in Arrowhead against a guy that simply just doesn't lose in the month of September in Patrick Mahomes. And the Browns were there, toe-to-toe, face-to-face. They were right there. Yes, mistakes were made. I can readily admit that. Chubb, who really never fumbles, Nick Chubb does not fumble, had an uncharacteristic fumble that really turned the game on its head. And then they were punting the ball. I believe it was in the late third quarter, or maybe it was the fourth quarter, where they were punting the ball for the first time in the game. The punter fumbles it, or muffs the, I don't know what you call it, but he drops the ball. He drops the ball from the long snapper, and the Chiefs take the lead. But that's not what got me, because mistakes happen. No matter what you want to say, mistakes happen. But when you look at the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, that team, that coaching staff, Stefanski and those boys, they had Baker Mayfield in a position in Arrowhead to lead his team down the field to win the game. I think if you tell Stefanski, Mayfield, the Cleveland Brown defense, the whole organization, hey, there'll be 2 minutes left in the game, Baker Mayfield has the ball driving, he scores, we win the game. Are you taking that deal? They're going to take the deal. Because it's a good deal. Because he should be at that level now. The defense and the running game and the offensive line for the Cleveland Browns are well put together. Well put together. I know OBJ's not there, but they don't even use him right anyway. So whether he's there or not really doesn't make a big difference. I've heard some people on certain networks saying, well, the Browns, we'll see what happens when OBJ's back. It doesn't make that much of a difference. I'm not an OBJ hater, but it comes down to Baker Mayfield. And with a chance to win the game in Arrowhead, he makes what I call a bone-headed mistake. It's just a mistake that he cannot make. Does week 1 make or break his season? No, but it was disappointing. The same way I feel about Josh Allen, a mistake that Baker Mayfield did not need to make, throwing a careless interception when he didn't need to. Plenty of time on the clock. You can even still run the football. If you got to take the sack, throw it away, but you can't throw it carelessly on a whim and a prayer and allow that game to end where Patrick Mahomes really didn't even beat you. He made one ridiculous throw. He's going to do that. He's Patrick Mahomes. But he didn't beat you on this day. The offense didn't beat you on this day. You beat yourselves. But the one guy who cannot beat you is your own quarterback. Because unlike Josh Allen got the bag this summer. Baker Mayfield doesn't have the bag yet. And that was not a good game for him and his agent, because I know they want to secure that bag. That performance by Baker Mayfield, just that last turnover, ruined the whole game, because he was excellent before that. That turnover ruined the game, because you have to be able to win the game as a quarterback leading his team to a Super Bowl. I'm not asking Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield to be elite, because their defenses are so good they don't need to be elite. They just need to be very good and elite in crunch time moments. Think about Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was never an elite quarterback in the NFL, but he had an elite playoff run, and he was always able to step up when it mattered. His team would help. He had a good running game. He had a good defense. He had great coaching. He just needed to be elite when they needed him to be elite, and he was able to do that. That's what Baker Mayfield, that's what Josh Allen need to do. And on Sunday, they were not that. So I was very disappointed in those guys. And it leads me to the guy that I picked on our podcast to have that elite turn, Lamar Jackson. I was also disappointed by his performance in week 1. And again, this is, you can call it overreaction, sure. I'm just giving you my take from week 1. And my take is these 3 guys in particular were disappointing. I was disappointed. For Lamar Jackson, it comes down to, I watched the end of the broadcast, and I think it was Brian Greasy talking. He said he liked Lamar Jackson's performance. He thought he progressed as a quarterback, and I just don't know what he was watching. I don't know what he was watching. Maybe he was trying to placate to the crowd. I don't know. I don't know what he was watching. Did Lamar Jackson make good throws? Yes, but quarterbacks are supposed to make good throws. I don't give you credit like, oh, that was a good throw this time. Nah, like you're paid to make good throws. When it mattered most, his feet became too happy. Too many throws where he's not set. Too many throws where he's not stepping up in the pocket. He's leaning and it causes the ball to be thrown low. Too many throws where he's just not making the right read, where you have your tight end wide open and you're throwing it to the flat to your running back and you're not even throwing that ball accurately. I mean, what were we working on during the offseason? I'm not trying to knock this guy. I think he's great. And I think he has a chance to be great. But in week 1, I was very disappointed because his feet were too happy. Yes, we all know he's an amazing athlete. Yes, we all know he can run. Yes, we all know he's electric and he can make the deep ball throw. And he made some great throws in that game, but when it matters, that's all I care about. You can't be fumbling the ball when it matters. You can't do that. You can't miss reads when it matters. Because when you watch that game, and he said it after the game, that was on me. And he was right. It is on him. Week 1 was on him. They had no business losing that game to the Raiders. They should not have lost that football game, and it was on him. But all is not lost. It's not all lost. I don't want this takedown to be too doom and gloom because things can change immediately, literally in week 2, and for the rest of the season. But for me, I had such high hopes, lofted hopes. There's a song on Goofy Movie, my favorite movie. It's like one of my favorite movies. It's like, he's got high hopes. I had high hopes for all 3 of these guys, all 3. And after week 1, I was very disappointed. They can still turn it around, but they've got to be elite in big moments. I'm not asking any of these quarterbacks to be elite throughout the entire game. I think the only quarterback that may have to do that is Lamar Jackson, because I believe the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns are just going to call them complete teams. I think both of those teams are really complete. For the Bills, they may need a better running game. We'll see what Devin Singletary can do this season. It may be the running game might be their Achilles heel, but it's not that bad because Josh Allen can run as well. Those 2 teams are elite. Bills, Browns. I believe those 2 teams are elite. They need their quarterbacks to be good throughout the game and great in big time moments. That's it. For the Ravens, they really need Lamar Jackson to be great throughout the game. I don't think they're as good as football teams as the Bills or as the Browns, but I believe they have the better coach than John Harbaugh. So that it kind of balances itself out. But for me, my takedown is real simple. Those 3 guys, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Lamar Jackson, have to be better throughout the season if they want to dethrone the AFC champs and Patrick Mahomes. Thank you so much for listening to this takedown. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube page. And while you're doing that, you might as well subscribe to our podcast. Go on Nuchannelsports.net. That's Nuchannel spelled Nuchannelsports.net. You can subscribe to our podcast there, or you can go on Podbeam. We're on Podbeam, Stitcher, Apple, Google, wherever you listen to your podcast, we are there. You can also catch our beautiful faces on Afro Vibes TV. You can catch us there on demand. We go over the NFL. We go over so many international sports there as well. Afro Vibes TV is global. We out here. And also check us out on our Instagram pages and on our Twitter pages. We are everywhere, and we're everywhere because we do this for you. We do it for you. Thank you so much for listening. You know how I end this. Stay safe, y'all. Please stay safe. Peace.